I'm Coach Tasha Delk.
I'm Cleo the coach. What's going on?
Yes, and we are here today with Destin to Delk. And we're going to be talking about expectations and standards. And so we are talking to wives in waiting. We are talking to husbands in waiting. We are talking to newlyweds, as we are newlyweds. Yeah. We are also talking to those who are married and have been married. Like my husband says, you can learn from anybody. And so we hope that you guys can take something away from every video. Also, go back.
No, I thought that was something else. Sorry.
Also go back and check out some of our other videos. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share. All right, so we're gonna get right into it. The first thing that we see about people having expectations is they set unrealistic expectations.
Exactly.
And so the reason why we're gonna go into the unrealistic expectations is because there are people who set expectations and they set these standards, and they're not that quality or that version of a woman or a man. So they have these false expectations. Like, that's just like saying, oh, I want a man that has a 700 credit score, and he needs to have his own property. He needs to have this and he needs to have that. And all along, you're the type of person who is not even responsible enough to keep your lights on, or you're not responsible enough. And with just the things that you do on the daily, you don't cook, right. You don't clean, you don't know how to cook, right. So there's so many aspects that can go into that. You looking for a man that do this and do that, but it's like, what type of woman are you?
On the other side, there are women who are affluent, that have great credit, that are business minded, that have businesses going on. However, the expectations might not be unrealistic, but they're very superficial.
Absolutely.
Like very basic. It's only dealing with the surface of the person. And so you look beyond, you start to peel back layers beyond people, you start to understand that things are way more than what they see on paper. And what they have physically in their repertoire, or the assets that they might possess, or the account that they might have, or to what you were saying, the credit score and all of these big things that they're expecting. And you might have a weirdo at the bottom of that. When you put all the letters, you might have a dude that on the low watches. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. All type of crazy stuff. I don't want to, say nothing too off, but it's like you have so many people in this world that are very weird under all of the facades.
For sure.
So that's it's the other side of that as well.
No, that make a lot of sense. But I think that is so on both sides. It's like you have people who I do feel like it's unrealistic when you don't meet any of those standards. And that's the thing that's what you're looking for. Just like a person that is extremely overweight, and then you have somebody who is extremely fit that may not be interested in somebody. They may be really health conscious. So it's just like, it's unrealistic in some scenarios that you're not even willing to put that work in. So they could, it's unrealistic kind of in that scenario. So that's just kind of, I'll use that as an example.
And it's also from the men's perspective too. I think men have these expectations and standards in women, and they're not even living nowhere near the lifestyle they need to lead to even maintain a woman of that caliber.
Absolutely.
Or even deal with a woman of that mindset of magnitude. So it goes both ways.
But you definitely, we just feel like if you're looking for somebody of a higher quality, I think that you should also be working on being that higher quality. I don't feel like everybody has to be at where they're going, in their lives or anything like that, because you just never know a person's situation. You never know a person's circumstance or things that they've experienced in their life. So I think that I don't believe that people have to be at a certain place in their life. I look at the person. The next thing that we're going to talk about is just like, how do you have expectations from a person changing from boyfriend to husband or girlfriend to wife
into the marriage.
Yeah, so from dating to marriage, the expectations sometimes are unrealistic. I feel like people think like, okay, well, I want my husband this way. I want this, and this is what I expect. Like, okay, so say for instance, I expect my husband to open my doors and take all the groceries up, and I also expect him to take care of all the bills. I expect him to do all these things. And then
was he doing these
but
things?
is that what he was
dating? Right,
exactly. If that's not the expectation that you were setting for them while dating, or you think about the people who are have been dating for years and years and years, and then there's never a marriage proposal, or there's never any communication about marriage, or it never goes to the next level.
For sure.
And so it's just kind of like, what are you expecting?
What we were watching just with Heaven not too long ago is just a show our daughters watch, but it kind of spoke to our message today.
Yeah.
And it was just the woman having all of these standards and all of this stuff going on as far as what she expected the man to do. He couldn't hang with his friends. He couldn't do X, Y, and Z while they were dating. Yeah. But it's like, okay, you're setting the expectation while you're dating, but that's not the man he wants to be.
Yeah.
So you're trying to change the person that isn't that person. So ultimately, he ends up leaving her, and she has to reroute and change the way she was coming. And so where it just could have been just accepting the person for who they are.
Yeah.
And sometimes the person that you are dealing with might not be the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with.
Absolutely. So the expectations or the visions that you may have, that person may not align with that.
Like she wanted him to be a lawyer and to go to start a
job. She wanted him to internship.
Yeah. At a law firm, and he's like,
that's not what he wanted.
I want to start my own business.
Absolutely.
I don't want to work for I don't care what your dad do. This is what I want to do.
Right.
And so that's kind of speaking to that.
I just feel that people have to be careful about expecting, a different person after marriage. Like what you see is most likely what you get. and you can't expect more from a person just because they married you. Or
you should have a certain level of standards for yourself. So we're not telling you not to have any type of standards when you're dating, but understand what your standards are, and are the people you're dating meeting those standards? 1, 2, are the standards really about their character, about integrity, honesty, about the things that really matter in a person, instead of what their financial status is, what their status in life is, what kind of job do they work, all of these, how many Instagram followers. So all of these things that kind of goes really matter.
Yeah.
And that's the new standard. Like I feel like that's what people are looking for, engaging their dating off of, instead of really what type of character, who am I really dealing with.
Right. And so that goes into our last point, as in, things that you should be looking for, things that you should be expecting of a person, things that those standards that person should be meeting. Like just as my husband said, like, do they have integrity? Are they a person with integrity? Are they a person that passion. that can treat you right, that can open your doors, that can be the person that can love you and not by.
How does he treat his mother? How does he treat his children? How does he, what are some of the goals that he has in life? Is he passionate about those goals?
And how is he as a father? How is he as just a stranger to somebody? Is he disrespectful to just people? So there's so many things. Or the woman, is she just a woman that's out here cussing everybody out? Is she a person that just has so much bitterness or unforgiveness in her heart that you can't even talk to her without her?
And a lot of men, they're not even looking that far deep.
Absolutely.
ASS she got.
Right.
Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, where does all the physical, you stay looking at the BBLs and all this other stuff that is like, okay, once that go away, then who you dealing with?
Yeah. But then it's just like, I've been seeing like more like on social media, like a lot of men are now talking about how they like natural women and natural hair. And it's shifting because, you know, so it's like now,
all these women got all this stuff done.
Yeah, so you got all the, you know, and I mean it's not funny, but, you know, it's just being real, just being real.
It's a little comical.
And it's like now you got all these guys shifting like, oh, I like women with natural hair. Oh, I like women with natural bodies. Oh, I like women with all this natural stuff.
Like, sure, you just got all the stuff taken out. What's her name?
Oh,
I forget her name, but y'all know
China, Black China. Yeah, she just got all these things like removed from her body, and she looks amazing. But it's just like, it's so crazy how, you know, social media and all those things and being in that limelight can really shift your thoughts of who you are, and, you know, and make you want to do all that stuff. Like, people are really shifting, and I think that if we can get to a point to where we have standards and expectations of who people are at the core of who they are, then it will definitely, we'll have more marriages, we'll have more healthier relationships, we'll have more healthier families. And I think that that's something that we should be looking at. Is like, what are people morals with their family? You know, because if that person doesn't have a sense of family on their own, they're not going to be able to have a sense of family in a relationship either. You know, so or we got to be able to look at those things while
they're dating. They're not gonna have it when you get married, so don't have these expectations now that we've said I do that he didn't have, or she didn't have prior to marriage.
Absolutely. So we think that you guys can, you know, if you look deeper into a person and what they really are about, you know, at the core of them, then I think that those are the type of things that you guys need to be looking for in a person. What are some things, some morals, and some things that are extremely important to you? And I think that also causes the dater, that also causes the dater to dig a little deeper, to really understand themselves, so that they can really, so that they can really be able to find that mate, you know, without having these false expectations or out of, So it's superficial, like you talked about earlier, like superficial expectations. And then also they're not, you know, shifting. Now that you're my husband, now I expect you to do all these things, because that's not going to last. That isn't healthy. You know, you guys have to be able to establish those things, have those talks prior to marriage, and that be some of the things that so that you guys can be on one accord. And so,
and we also want to throw in something that we watched that kind of helped make this video.
Absolutely.
We saw a clip. I don't want to say the lady's name wrong, but it's she did things for the O channel, I believe, or the E channel. It was like Fix Your Life with
Ayana or something like that.
Yeah, I don't want to say the name wrong, but we saw a clip, and she is getting interviewed by a woman of status. It's actually a woman that we've talked about before in the video. We never want to give names or bash anyone. This is not what we're here to do, but we want to just bring context into what we're saying. And so she was the interviewer, and she was a woman of status. I believe she was an attorney. She's has her ducks in a row, so to say, and she's asking, and I think she's asking Ayana, why aren't the pool of men
better
where
quality.
They need to be? Why is there such a low quality of men? And her response to her was, would you date a bus driver? And the lady responded, if he owned the bus. And I was like, what does that matter if this is a man of passion, if this is a man of integrity?
Well, she said if it was, she basically said, I would date a bus driver if, for one, he loved driving the bus. And then also, if two, how does he treat his mother? How does he, you know, so she talked about morals and standards as far as who he is at the core of him. And also, like, my response was, if you want him to own the bus, help him to, you know, if that's what he really liked to do, then build that with him. you know, to be able to allow him to be able to make that transition to being the bus owner. Like if that's, you like, oh, I know you love riding this bus, but I want you to own it.
Right.
So you can help them get to where they're going. That's why I said earlier, like, I don't think that people have to fully be at their highest potential of who they are.
But they need to be walking.
But they need to be working on it, working towards it.
Yeah,
They need
sure.
to be, have some things done within themselves. You know, so that's just kind of my thought on that.
And she also spoke to that being the reason, that mentality of, oh, he needs to own it, being the reason why a lot of the women are in the situation that they're in, because their standards is wrong, their aim is wrong. So once we can get that understanding better, then I feel like I think that's a segue into our next video. Why is marriage not the goal?
Right.
And I think once we talk more about that, but I feel like that's segueing more so into that.
Absolutely. Well, okay, guys, that's it. I am Coach Tasha Delk.
I'm Cleo the coach.
Yes, and you just tuned in to Destined to Delk. Make sure that you follow us on all social media platforms. Make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, and share this video.
Also, let them know about your new channel.
Yeah. So I do also have a new inspirational channel. It's called She's Got Something to Say. And this is where I will be sharing spiritual advice, prayer, worship, all things God on that channel. Inspirational quotes, inspirational videos, and
a very anointed woman, very anointed queen.
All right, guys.
My baby, she turned up.
Yes. All right, guys. We love you. Thank you so much for tuning in with us.
We out.